Come on. There we go. All right, guys, welcome back. This is a different episode for Hoops Unwrapped. We're doing top college prospects with my good friend Nick. We watch a lot of college basketball, so we decided, hey, why not show some of these college guys some love? And we're gonna talk about second round prospects first, and then first round prospects last. Some of these guys on this list might surprise you. When I saw the prospect numbers on Chad Ford's big board, I was like, what? But I think this draft is really deep. And then Nick's going to give his insight. He's been doing some studying. I got my notebook here. I got numbers here for you guys as well. Before we jump into it, we're going to do some sponsors first because we got to show sponsors some love. So first, our most important sponsor, patreon.com/unwrappedsports. $1 a month, you become a fan, just general support. $5 a month, you become part of the family. 10% off their Teespring shop and all access to their Discord chat. Looks like we've gained some more Patreons since the last time I've done this. Their Discord chat's been popping. People have been winning a lot of money in their Discord chat. So you guys can check that out. VIP status is only $10 a month, 20% off the Teespring shop and all access to the Discord chat. And you get put in the running for some signed memorabilia every month. So check out patreon.com/unwrappedsports. Next, how to win that money. How to win that money is mybookie.ag. Mybookie.ag, use the code USN100 to double your first deposit. Any and everything you can bet on. I know there's a big UFC fight this weekend. There's a lot of WNBA action going on right now. They're getting ready to take a huge long break because of All-Star and the Olympics. So you have tennis, you got baseball, any and everything you want to bet on, you can bet on here at mybookie.ag. Use the code USN100 to double your first deposit. Oh, we got some fans in here. Thank you, Michael. That's my co-host on Count the Bucket, two of my favorite people. Thank you, Michael. And Garrett, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it. All right. Okay. Let's get into this. Nick, let's get into this.
Let's do it.
All right. So Chad Ford has a big board. If you guys don't know, if you don't watch college sports, Chad Ford has a big board. He has his top 60 prospects. You guys know there are only 2 rounds in the NBA draft. NFL draft is 7. So NBA draft will go quick. Reminder, NBA draft is July 29th. Another reminder, the Unwrapped Sports Network will do a mock draft. So stay tuned for that. So these second round prospects might surprise you if you watch college basketball. And if you don't, you get to learn about these second round prospects. They are guards. We're showing the guards some love. So point guards and shooting guards, they could be a hybrid. They can play the 1 and the 2 because you have a lot of those these days. And we're going to dive in. I'm going to give Nick the first name. And he's going to tell me what he thinks about this prospect. I'm going to tell you what number they are too. And I think I'm going to start on this page. All right, Nick? Here we go. Now, he is the lowest ranked guard. Well, on our list that we made up. Nick made up a list. We had a few switches, but because some of them are forwards, NBA forwards, we thought they were guards, but they're forwards. Right. So we switched a couple of people out. So these are our guards, right? Nick gave me a list, say, hey, this is what we're going to do. I said, cool, let's run with it. This guard, Chad Ford, has number 33. It's a point guard. Ayu Dosunmu. Does that shock you at him at 33? It kind of shocked me a little bit.
It shocks me, honestly, because I have him at like mid first round. Like I would say probably around like the 15 to 20 range. So having him at 33, I think that's probably a bit too low, but I kind of understand because this draft is pretty deep. Mm-hmm. But Dosunmu's made a big name for himself throughout his junior year. I mean, if you watched Illinois throughout this year, I mean, they were one of the top teams in the country. They were like number 1 in the Big or number 2. I can't remember. It was like number 1 or number 2 in the Big Ten. I know it was either between them and Ohio State or I can't remember. But Dosunmu had a pretty good season. You know, he's kind of like I don't like using the term tweener, but he's kind of like a dual forward per se because you know he's around. I want to say he's around like 6'8". You know, he's one of those guys that can handle the ball. You know, initiate offense, and then also being able to score as well. The one thing that really stood out to me is that he's a much more complete perimeter scorer this past year for Illinois compared to his first 2 years per se, where he was more so like, trying to find buckets around the basket. So when you have that with the combination of him being a great on-ball defender, being able to deflect steals, being able to get to the passing lanes, that's why I honestly think that his draft stock really went up. Now, it may have went down considering that Illinois ended up losing early in the NCAA tournament, but I still think, honestly, Dosunmu was possibly like a mid-first round guy.
You know what? And I fell in love with him last year. I watch a lot of Big Ten basketball. How can you not? One of the best conferences in college basketball by far. It's so deep. The Big Ten is so deep. It's a lot of teams, but it is very, very deep. I think they were going to send 9. They probably sent 9 or 10 teams to the NCAA tournament this year. That's how deep it was. And I fell in love with him last year, his sophomore season. Fun fact about Dosunmu. He's averaged double figures since he's been in Illinois. 13 a game freshman year, 16 a game sophomore year, and then 20 a game junior year. 6.3 rebounds this season. That's pretty good for a guard, even though he is 6'5". 5.3 assists. Here are his splits. 48.8 from the field, 39% from the three-point line, and 78.3 from the free throw line. I would like for that to be a little better from free throw line, but, free throws are mostly mental anyway. Right. But that three-point percentage shocked me. 39%. Not bad. It's not bad at all. Now, his high, he had 36 against Missouri this season. They lost their game. That's when Missouri was hot. Missouri, I think, beat Oregon on the road, and they were very hot, looking very good, and they kind of tailed off a little bit. He's had this past season, he had 4 30-point games of 30-plus. So he can put the ball in the hole, no problem. His last outing against Loyola Chicago, I think he scored 9 points.
Yeah, so he definitely didn't have like the best performance, but he Illinois just played bad overall in that game.
They did, and it probably left a bad taste in some of the scouts' mouth. But looks like he had a good pre-draft workout. I heard that he had a pre-draft workout, a great pre-draft workout. Chad Ford raved about him. So we'll see where he ends up. But at number 33, your second round prospect, you could go first round. We don't know where these guys are going to go. I was so wrong about the WNBA draft. I just wanted to smack myself in the face because players I thought would go in the first, win the second. I'm like, huh?
Dana Evans.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Did not expect that at all.
I didn't expect that at all. So in the NBA draft, you have a clear-cut number 1 overall pick. We're going to talk about him later. But could somebody else go number 1? We don't know. Will there be trades made? I'm pretty sure Detroit wants to keep their number 1 pick. Troy Weaver wants to keep their number 1 pick. So Ayo Dosunmu is a guy that I can see could come off the bench and be very productive for an NBA team. Any more thoughts on Dosunmu?
So I'm looking at my phone now. According to NBADraft.net, their mock draft, they have him at number 18 for Houston. Like, I'm trying to imagine like that lineup because I know Houston also has the number 2 pick, so I don't know if they're gonna go with either Jalen Suggs or possibly Evan Mobley for that 2 slot, or they might trade. Who knows? But honestly, like I think Dosunmu could possibly play well alongside guys like Kevin Porter Jr., Christian Wood, and those guys. Because Houston's a very young team as well, so they're on the rise. So you never know. Honestly, I mean that might end up being a good fit, whether he ends up coming off the bench or not.
Yeah. And guys, remember, these are prospects, not where they're going to be drafted. So it's all based off fit. You guys know that it's all based off fit. So wherever they think he would fit will be good. All right. Ready for the second guy. He's at number 32, actually. So I think I only have 2 second-round prospects on here. Yep, I only have 2 second-rounders on here. So this guy's coming in number 32. Cameron Thomas out of LSU.
He's second round too?
6'3" out of LSU. Now, Chad Ford did say he can go late first, but, prospect-wise, he's number 32. He's a shooting guard. So Cameron Thomas is a guy that could fill it up, man, for LSU, and he played extremely well in that SEC this season. So what are you thinking about Cameron Thomas, Nick?
I saw Rashad Phillips video. Shout out to Rashad Phillips. He ended up saying that that Thomas is probably the best pure scorer in this draft. And
Yep.
I definitely think that he's up there, especially with the way that, he's able to just score like any will, whether it's mid-range, whether it's 3-point shots. I honestly don't like his release per se, but I mean, at the end of the day, it works. So, you know what I'm saying? Like you gotta stick with the guns. But I think the one thing that is possibly holding him down is just the fact that he's kind of one-dimensional. Like, he's not necessarily like a playmaking type guy. Mm-hmm. Defensively, he does have his moments, but he's not an initial lockdown defender. But then again, I mean, like he has so many more years to develop. So, with him being able to put the ball in the hole, I guarantee like any team could use him, especially like, young teams that are on the rise. So, I mean, Thomas is definitely up there. I don't know if he's the best scorer in the draft, but I definitely think he's like probably top 5 at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to give you some numbers for you, Nick. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
23 points per game, 3.4 rebounds, and 1.4 assists, which, he's a shooting guard, so he's going to shoot the ball.
Exactly.
40.6% from the field, 32.5 from three-point line, and 88.2 from the free throw line. His high this season, last season, 2020, 2021 season, 32 at home against Texas A&M. This guy can fill it up. Yeah, this guy can fill it up. And he really didn't get the recognition because when you're in the SEC, right, what do most networks focus on? Kentucky. It's all about Kentucky basketball.
And then also, not to mention, Alabama had a really good year as well. Like
and they did.
Jones and those boys.
Yes, they did have a really good year. But, most networks are focused on Kentucky because they're a blue blood in the SEC. So when you hear LSU basketball, you're like, what? That's a football school. And that's so hard to transition from a football school to a basketball school. That's such a hard transition. That's a tough transition. So when you think about LSU, you don't think basketball first. You think football first. But if you sat there and you watch Cameron Thomas play, you see that he has the potential to come off the bench as a rookie and probably give you 15 on a second unit, I think. On a second unit.
And he can do it. Like, he can quickly, do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, quick. You give him like a few open looks from the 3-point line and like they'll just give him the ball. Like, he'll be able to fill it up.
He'll be able to fill it up. And in the NBA, we know that today's NBA is catered to the offense. You can't play defense anymore pretty much in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
So I like him a lot. He's a shooting guard. He's 6'3", which is a little small for a shooting guard. But because, you got shooting guards with Clay 6'8", right?
Exactly. But I think the thing about him is that, even though he is small, he really knows how to like elevate on his shot. You know what I'm saying? Like just being able to get it off over like taller defenders. So that's one positive thing that is about his game offensively.
Okay. And I like him. Probably depends on what a team is looking for, right? Because Chad Ford has him 32, which is early second round. If a team is looking for somebody that can fill it up, can get buckets, very young, still a little raw, you can fix that release. Look at Lonzo Ball. You can fix that release. It doesn't matter. He's going to have to get his shot up a lot quicker because he's smaller and he'll be playing against taller wing defenders. I can see him going late first to a team that, who has late first round picks this season? This draft. Teams that are playoff teams that make deep runs, more than likely.
I know the Clippers do, the Nuggets do,
the
Nets and the Sixers and Phoenix and Utah.
Okay. So could he play on one of those veteran teams? Maybe, possibly. He'll be cheap. So if a veteran team is looking to get rid of a guy that's making $10, $15 million a year and he's coming in on a rookie deal, he could be cheap for one of those veteran teams. And that's an easier transition, I think, for young guys when they play on teams with veterans because they don't have as much pressure on them as guys that are coming in and having to be put into the spotlight right away. So I think that's a good thing. So if Cam Thomas can get on a team with veterans and get his shots and play with a second unit, kind of fill it up like, he reminds me of, this is going to sound crazy. Jordan Clarkson. You know how Jordan Clarkson is just filling it up for Utah? He
I'm not mad at that.
Yeah. So
but that's what you need sometimes on teams. Like, you just need somebody that could put the ball in the hole, honestly.
Yeah. And that's what the NBA is all about, right? Putting the ball in the hole. So he's not shy. He's not gun shy. Anthony Edwards was not gun shy in college, and he got to the
yeah,
NBA. He had a kind of an up and down season, but once he got his feet going, he was not shy at all there in Minnesota. So it is possible. I really like Cameron Thomas because he wasn't really talked about, and then all of a sudden people start talking about him. And I like those kind of guys that they put on the show. I like guys that put on the show. It's fun to watch for me. And he's one of those guys that can do that. So is there anywhere else you think he could go if he goes early second or late first? Late first, he's going to be with a veteran team more than likely. So
I'm looking at late first. I guess could you possibly see him in Denver per se? Because I mean, I know Denver loves those young guys. They love developing them. So maybe that could be a possible move for him just based off of that. But do you possibly see him fitting in that system?
Who they have coming off the bench in Denver?
They got
Monte Morris.
Yeah, Monte Morris.
Monte Morris, PJ Dozier. Campazzo will probably come off the bench when Jamal Murray comes back. Yeah,
I'm trying to think. Hey.
Will Barton starts, doesn't he? Paul Millsap comes off the bench now because Aaron Gordon is there.
Yeah.
That'd be tough for him to see minutes, right? Because you're going to keep PJ Dozier. Tough. Monte Morris just got his contract extension. That's going to be tough. Ooh.
Yeah, but let me look into the second round. Okay. I know Milwaukee has the 31st pick, and then the Knicks have the 32nd pick. So
better for Milwaukee or better for the Knicks? I think it might be better for Milwaukee because they don't have any bench scoring at all.
That's true. Yeah, that is definitely true.
We see it in an NBA Finals.
We see it. I was saying we see it right now.
Play 44 minutes and on a knee that's probably not stable. I guarantee you he getting shots at halftime because that knee is not right. When your knee bends back like that, he's playing very hard through adrenaline and adrenaline only. Because I bet when he gets done playing, he is sore as heck. I know he is.
Oh yeah.
So I can see him in Milwaukee because he can go get a bucket. He can come off the bench for Milwaukee because they don't have any bench scoring. In my opinion, I mean, Cottington can give you something. Forbes can give you, something. Bobby Portis is an energy guy, but those shots are sporadic. And when, Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday are struggling like they are right now against Phoenix, I wouldn't mind having a rookie come off the bench and not being gun shy and taking those shots because Giannis wants him to take those shots. I mean, they're clogging the paint when Giannis comes in. Oh, yeah. And then Middleton and Holiday are not able to knock down shots. So Milwaukee for Cam Thomas?
Yeah, honestly, I think I would definitely say Milwaukee's possibly a better fit. Like I'm thinking about New York now, and just looking at their depth as well. With Quickly and a lot of those other guys. I don't know if he'll get the minutes there either. So possibly Milwaukee will probably be the better option, especially considering what we said. I mean, they don't really have a lot of bench production or a lot of guys that can really fill up the basket other than Brian Forbes or Pat Connaughton from time to time. But I don't think they have that kind of talent that Cam Thomas has.
Yeah, I don't think so either. His upside is very bright.
Yeah.
Very, very, very bright upside. All right. That's only 2 second-round prospects, right? There's only 2 of them. And we're going to see if they go late first or early second, which they probably will. Drafting on need, guys. People draft on need.
Yeah.
All right, before we transition to first-round prospects, because we got 8 of those to do, I'm going to let you guys know you can get some cool Unwrapped Sports Network gear. Check out teespring.com/stores/unwrapped. We got OG gear. We got new label gear. Come on now, computer. You want to. There we go. The King has his gear because a lot of Lakers fans in the Unwrapped Sports Network. You get a phone case. You get stickers. You get hoodies and sweatshirts. All the live lineup has gear as well. Here is my show, ladies. First, I have gear. My co-host has gear for his show, Backstop Banter. So you can check this out, guys. teespring.com/stores/unwrapped. All right, let's get to these first round prospects. Ooh wee! This is gonna be fun. The first round of the NBA draft is always a surprise because there will be trades made,
Oh
and
yeah.
they're already proposing trades for OKC for SGA and the six pick or whatever. I'm like, dude, we're not trading SGA. Quit throwing him in trade talks. I
Yeah,
said it on Twitter. That's
that's
ridiculous.
ridiculous. Like that's so ridiculous. Especially like SGA is like a franchise cornerstone, like that Oklahoma
Yeah,
City should build around. I mean, I know OKC has like all the picks in the world right now, so they're probably not too worried. But SGA is the guy that you want to build around.
exactly. And we have SGA. We're not gonna. Sam Presti's not gonna do that. He's not picking up the phone for SGA. As soon as you say SGA, he's probably gonna hang up. So shout out to you, Sam Presti. Keep hanging up. All right. I think you like this guy a lot. I think you like him a lot.
Oh God.
Number 30 on Chat Board's big board. Nyshawn Bones Highland.
Yes. Oh yes. And what's so crazy? Like the crazy thing about him with me is that I honestly didn't watch him at all like this season, like this past season. It's just that, when the whole drafting was going on with the NBA over these past few weeks when they were having like the little scrimmages or whatever, everybody was talking about it like, yo, oh, his draft stock's going up and everything. So I was like, so yesterday I was like, all right, cool. Like, let me check him out. And I must say I'm in love with this guy. Like, I think the one thing that stands out the most for him is that he just has so much confidence in his game. Like, so like, even even yesterday, like when I was checking out his film and everything, like, he comes out there with a purpose to play. Like, I mean, he's only like, I want to say like 6'5", and he only weighs like 170 pounds. So when you look at guys like that, so you think, those are easy guys to bully, but with him, he just elevates his play like every single time. I don't know, like, to me, he kind of gives me like, because here's the thing, like the thing with his game is that, especially because like he's a deep 3-point shooter.
Yes.
And he loves to like size players up and just like get them out of the rhythm per se, and then like not launch deep threes. Honestly, it kind of gives me, I don't know why it does, but it kind of gives me like Trae Young vibes. Like how like he's at the top of the key, and he likes to size defenders and try to like shoot over them. So I'm not saying he's exactly like Trae Young, because I don't think they play exactly alike. But whenever he does do that, it does kind of give me like a little bit of Trae Young vibes. But Bones Highland, to me, like I said, he plays with a lot of confidence. He knows how to attack the basket. He can shoot the three. He can create off the dribble. And then also on the defensive end, he's a great player to deflect passes in the passing lane. I think he averaged like 2 steals this past season for his team. So Bones Highland, I don't know. I don't know exactly where I could possibly put him. I don't know if he can be either late first round or early second round, but I feel like he is definitely a guy that you will definitely want to build around, or I wouldn't say build around, but like, at least have on your roster in the future. Because I just feel like, like with his confidence, and then also if he continues to have the same work ethic that he has had, I think he's definitely going to be like a key contributor on the team.
Absolutely. So VCU, I love mid-majors. Love them. Played 2 seasons at VCU. I love mid-major kids. I like 4-year guys, which a lot of NBA scouts don't. And I like mid-major participants. You know what I mean? So stood out to me the most about him. 10 plus points a game. He rose his scoring average. 10 plus points per game between his freshman and his sophomore season. So sophomore season, 19.5, 4.7 rebounds, 2.1 assists. His splits, 44.7, 37.1, 86.2. Only had 74 turnovers, but he only played 24 games. So his high was 31 against Western Carolina. They won that game. A lot of people wanted to see him play the full season. He played full season his freshman year. And they didn't know what to expect. Nobody knew what to expect until he went to the draft combine. And then he went to the draft combine, and people said, okay, Chad Ford said, okay, I think he might be the most electric player in this draft with his energy and his confidence and things he brings to the table. In college, the game is not the same as it is in the NBA. You might get on a team that likes to run and push the pace. You might get on a team that likes to do half-court sets. For him, like you said, he likes to size you up, kind of feel you out. Dame Lillard does that a lot as well. Dame Lillard sizes you up. All those little small guards have to size you up because A, they're smaller,
Right.
So they need to see, okay, how can I create my own shot? Chris Paul is great at that. How can I create my own
That is
shot
true.
over a taller defender? I have to learn how to do that. So one-legged floaters, two-legged floaters. Work on your explosiveness. But as long as you bring the energy in the NBA, you will have a roster spot. Now, where could you see him fitting into a roster? If he goes, we'll say mid to late for him.
Ooh, let me look at that. Let me look at that. That's actually a good question because, like, my thing is, like, I think the thing with him is that, like, because he's so undersized or at least underweight per se, like, I feel like he won't necessarily get the opportunity right away to contribute on an NBA roster. Because I mean, honestly, I could possibly see him, possibly stepping down to the G League for a moment, which in all honesty, like, he could possibly dominate in the G League per se, and then as soon as he gets that recognition, possibly get called back up. But you never know. But as far as I don't know what team could possibly use him. I'm gonna see late first round.
Those are all the teams that make late playoff pushes typically.
I know, because you got Brooklyn, Philadelphia, and these teams. I don't know that one. I don't know if I could, like, possibly see him necessarily fitting in with those teams.
Okay, so two-way contract player, you think? Maybe
Possibly so. Possibly, like, to begin out his career. But I mean, he could be like kind of like an RJ Hampton per se when RJ was in Denver, and then he got traded to Orlando, and then he started, really coming around. So he might be one of those guys. Who knows?
Okay. So we like to see the underdogs win. VCU mid-major, love me some mid-majors. I like him a lot, and we'll see where he goes. All right, the next first round prospect is number 15. Moses Moody out of Arkansas.
I like him.
Freshman out of Arkansas, Moses Moody. Arkansas had a pretty good year this year in the SEC.
Yeah, they did.
Everybody had a pretty good year in the SEC except for Kentucky, pretty much. And they're usually at the top of the SEC. That's why I say that, guys. But Moses Moody, ooh boy, I think he can be a 3-and-D guy in the NBA. He can shoot it.
Yes, he can.
He can shoot it, and he can play pretty darn good defense. So,
who do you think is, like, possibly like a better scorer between the two, either him or Cam Thomas? Because a part of me kind of wants to go Cam, but I don't know. It's tough.
It's tough. I like the way Moody shoots the ball. I like the way he releases the ball. He's taller than Cam Thomas too. So he's 6'6". So his stroke will be a lot smoother because when you're taller, your stroke is a lot smoother because you don't have to worry about the spacing to get it up. If that makes sense to people
That's true.
Play basketball, because Dame has changed his stroke every season, but his range has gotten deeper, it seems like, every season as well. Steph Curry's stroke is kind of unorthodox, but it's quick and it's very accurate. But his dad taught him how to shoot. Since he was a smaller player, you're gonna have to shoot like this. Trae Young's stroke, he's been small all his life. A lot of these guys have been small all their lives, but Trae Young was very small in high school. So he's kept that same stroke. He's just added some bulk and some strength, and the release has to be quick, very, very quick. So for Cam Thomas, his release is going to have to be a little quicker. Like we said before, his release is just not quite what we like, but that's okay. Shooting coaches in the NBA, use your shooting coaches in the NBA. Quit using Instagram and Twitter coaches to teach you how to shoot. I saw some wild stuff on Twitter today, Nick. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, God.
Use your personnel that you have is afforded to you for free. Okay? Call up Phil Handy. Would you please call up Phil Handy and be like, hey, but he's now a candidate for the coaching position with the Washington Wizards. So, he might not be around too much longer. So call him up. Please, guys, use the proper mechanics and get you a shooting coach. Look what he did for Lonzo.
Exactly.
So, Moses Moody, what are we thinking about him here, Nick?
Definitely another great scorer, especially, off the dribble, catch and shoot 3-point range. And I think another thing that also stands out about him is that, he's also a pretty decent on-ball defender. I'm not gonna say he's like an initial lockdown, but he's able to, deflect passes, deflect steals per se. So Moody, and it's tough too because like he is a really dynamic scorer, but the thing about it is that you can't put him over or at least in the same category as guys like, or at least like as far as the first round of like Cade or Jalen Suggs or like at least like all like these other top guards. But definitely, I mean, it's kind of like what we said earlier. I mean, the SEC doesn't really get a lot of recognition per se unless it's Kentucky. So Arkansas, even though Arkansas had a pretty decent year, a lot of people may have not really paid attention to them and see what Moses Moody was doing. I'm sure the only game people probably watched was the game where they played Oklahoma State against Cade, which was his former teammate in high school. So, Moses Moody, like I said, another great scorer, definitely a guy that can possibly take a leap. In my opinion, like he could possibly, I could possibly see him taking that Tyrese Halliburton type leap, being a top rookie per se. Now, I mean, this is all off of a prediction because in all honesty, I didn't see Tyrese Halliburton having the year that he had this year. So Moses Moody could possibly be in that same stratosphere.
Yeah, and I think Tyrese Halliburton's situation now. I don't like Luke Walton as a coach.
Oh yeah,
se,
me neither.
But he led all rookies, I think, in fourth quarter scoring, and he got hurt late in the year. But De'Aaron Fox missed like the latter part of the year because of, I believe, COVID or something like that. So Halliburton was kind of just thrown into their role. Okay, I'm going to be the guy. And he really was very, very, very productive. His shot is a little unorthodox too. Now, Moses Moody's shot is a lot smoother, but Halliburton's shot is a little unorthodox too. People are like, how is that going to translate? But I bet you any amount of money that his shot will look different next season. It just will, because you just have to learn how to shoot in the NBA. And he's long and wiry, and I love me some Halliburton, man. Big 12 guy.
I love Halliburton. Yeah, oh my God, I love him.
I love him so much.
I've been saying for a while now, like hopefully in like the next like 2 to 3 years, I don't know if it could happen, but like he could possibly find his way out of Sacktown. Please. And find himself in a position where he can be like a franchise like point guard per se, because I don't see it happening. I mean, De'Aaron Fox is that guy for them, and they're going to continue to move him going forward. So
yeah,
I definitely think Halliburton has the tools to at least be like a starting point guard for like at least like a team on the rise.
Absolutely. Let me give you some numbers for Moses Moody: 16.8 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 1.6 assists. 42.7, 35.8, 81.2. He scored 28 points 3 times this season: against Bama in a loss, against South Carolina in a win, against Texas A&M in a win. Guy can put the ball in the basket. No doubt about it.
And he's a great creator.
Yes, he is. And at 6'6" in college, I don't know what they're feeding these kids these days, but I saw some 7th and 8th graders dunking on YouTube, and I said, what in the world?
Oh, yeah.
So players are getting taller, faster, more athletic. They're kind of losing the skill a little bit. Kobe Bryant talked about it. They need to get back to the basic skills. Basic skills is what gets you a bucket. Footwork will get you a bucket in the NBA, because every shot you shoot, pretty much 75% of the shots you shoot, I would say in the NBA, are going to be contested. It may be more than 75%. Only time you're probably going to get a wide open shot is probably in transition or on penetration and kick. And there's still somebody's going to close out at you in the NBA. So that release has to be very, very quick. 6'6", shooting guard. That's not bad for a shooting guard. Oh my goodness, Jewel Lloyd.
Decent size.
And can put the ball in the basket. Play in the SEC, number 15 prospect according to Chad Ford. Where will he end up? Mid-first round. So what teams are picking mid-first round? Thunder have 2 picks mid-first round, 16 and 18. I don't think they might go get Moody. I've seen some.
I could see him in OKC, honestly.
With SGA, that'd be nice.
Exactly. He reminds me of somebody. I just can't like, I just can't like point my finger on it, but he reminds me of somebody. I don't know who it is. Maybe it'll come up like later on, but God.
I wouldn't mind him in OKC. Okay, guys, I'm saying that I wouldn't mind him at the number 18 pick. It's not a reach because he's number 15 on the draft prospect board, so that's not a reach at 18. It's not a reach at 16 either. So if he came to OKC, play with SGA and Baisley and Dort, I don't mind that. I don't mind at all. We got 3 first-round picks. We might get more, depending on what we're going to do with Kemba Walker. All right. This next guy, I like international players. Number 10
Uh-oh.
on Chad Ford's big board. Josh Giddey, the best passer in the draft.
Yeah.
I watched film on him on YouTube. Best passer in the draft. To me, best passer in the draft, according to Chad Ford. He only had 93 turnovers. He had 93 turnovers, okay, but he had over 200 assists.
Pretty decent.
Pretty decent.
But yeah, but like the thing with him is that he fits into like, you know, these big point guards like, you know, like Lonzo, Ben Simmons, like, you know, a lot of these guys that are like over 6'6", 6'7". So that definitely wouldn't be an issue. But the thing that still stands out to me about him, because I watched film of him like probably a month ago, so I already knew his passing abilities and, you know, his playmaking. But he also can put the ball in the basket too. I mean, I understand he's not super athletic per se, like, but he does have pretty decent footwork to where, you know, he can also shoot off the dribble per se. You know, he can knock down 3-point shots, maybe not at a high rate, but, you know, he does show the capabilities of putting the ball in the basket. So that's definitely a plus. And then also, he makes a lot of hustle plays as well. I mean, I saw it. I can't remember exactly what team he played for in the NBL, but I was watching film on him last night, and I mean, he was diving for loose balls. He was, you know, getting deflections, you know, so he's definitely a guy that can bring a lot of energy to a team with his hustle. So can he transition that into the NBA on that next level? I mean, we've seen a lot of international guys do it. Luka Doncic, we're seeing what he's doing. Nikola Jokic, you know, a lot of these guys coming from overseas, you know, and making things happen. So I'm not saying that he's going to be as big as those guys as far as like an MVP candidate, but I definitely think that he could possibly make like a good leap into the NBA.
International players are coming along, and they start playing early. We all know that 14, 15, they start playing professional basketball. They're not as athletic, but they have the fundamentals out the wazoo. They are very fundamentally sound. They don't rely on athleticism. They rely on fundamentals. Luka is not athletic at all. Now, Giannis is different. He's different.
That's true.
You don't get many Giannis's. You're just not going to have very many guys like Giannis. Even Kristaps Porzingis has a little athleticism to him. Early on in his career, when he played for the Knicks, he was dunking on people. But, you know, injuries have played a part in his career. Well, we hope to see him fully healthy again. But most international guys are very smart, very savvy, been playing the pro game for a while before they come to the NBA.
They have really high IQs.
Yes. But that athleticism in the NBA scares him a little bit. Because Luka said when he first played his NBA game, he was like, oh my goodness, like did that guy just jump from here to here? And you know, the athleticism, it'll sneak up on you. But if you're a good passer, you're a good passer. You know, another Australian guy, Ben Simmons is an Australian guy. Best passer in the draft. Let me give you some numbers. He averaged 12 points a game, and then he averaged 10 points a game. They played two different times overseas. So in one league, he had 10.9 points. Another, he had 12. 7.4 rebounds. I like that as a guard. He has triple-double potential because he averages 7.5 assists. His splits, 42.7, 29.3, and 69.1. Their free throw percentage needs to go up. But like I said before, that's a confidence thing.
Exactly.
Man, best passer in the draft. Who was the best passer in last year's draft? LaMelo?
I'll say LaMelo. Or actually, yeah. Just LaMelo.
Just LaMelo. International passer last year.
Oh, yeah, Denny.
Denny was a good passer, too. Who did Detroit take? His name is on the tip of my tongue.
I know they had Killian Hayes.
Yes, Killian Hayes was considered to be a pretty good passer last year as well. So Killian Hayes played overseas. Denny, of course, played overseas. And LaMelo, we know who LaMelo Ball is. He won Rookie of the Year. So Josh Giddey, 6'8", from Australia, best passer in the draft according to Chad Ford. He had over 200 assists this season, only 93 turnovers. He's a point guard. These big guards, man.
Really big guards.
Yeah, they're starting off. Like I said, I don't know what they're feeding these kids these days, but hey, you know, keep doing it. My favorite player in the draft, probably my favorite player to watch this college basketball season, is coming in at number 7, Davion Mitchell.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, that's my guy.
Davion Mitchell, and I was a huge Baylor Bear fan. You know, go Bears. Because I thought they probably would have won it in 2020 because they were the best team in college basketball in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Davion and Jared put their names in the hat for the NBA draft last season because I did a prospect piece on them. But then they pulled their names out, said, we want to go get a championship. Came back this year with a vengeance. And boy, did they come back with a vengeance there for Scott Drew. And they got a championship in convincing fashion. It wasn't close. Let me just throw that out there. It wasn't close. How are you feeling about Davion Mitchell?
I love Davion Mitchell, and I mean I've been saying this too because like the NCAA tournament this last year, or I mean even any year, like it really like boosts your draft stock depending on how you play. And for Baylor to have won the championship this year, dominating the undefeated team Gonzaga, and Davion Mitchell and Jared Butler led the way, like oh my god. But yeah, I mean Davion Mitchell is definitely. Could you possibly see him as like being the best perimeter defender in this draft? I personally think so.
Mm-hmm.
But I know a lot of people may disagree to that. But Davion Mitchell's a dog. That dude is a dog. I mean, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, like when I first saw him, I definitely thought that Donovan Mitchell had a brother, but it turns out that he didn't. But I mean, but this guy right here plays super hard. I mean, he plays every possession. You know, he's not only great defensively. I mean, he can give you offensive flashes per se. You know what I'm saying? Like he showed this year that he can carry the Baylor Bears throughout this year. So for him to be number 7? Yeah, for him to be number 7 is honestly not a surprise considering his ability to be able to make shots and to be able to be a lockdown defender as well. So he can definitely elevate a lottery team.
Yeah, I think so
depending on how the future goes.
So I skipped one, but we'll get to him. He's actually number 8, but we'll get to him. I just looked on my list like, oh my goodness, I got so much writing on here. I skipped one, but we'll get to it, Nick. Don't worry about it. Somebody, the Warriors pick at 7. Draymond wants to trade those pieces and get a superstar in so they can win now, right? Because Clay had back-to-back injuries. Him, Steph, and Draymond are the corner pieces to that franchise. Of course, you add in Wiseman, but Wiseman's been in some trade talks here lately, and I don't understand why.
I think the Warriors should keep Wiseman.
I think so too, but Looney exercised his option, so they're going to keep Looney as well. So I'm kind of trying to think of what Bob Myers is thinking there, but hey, I'm not a GM, so I don't really know, and I don't even want to try to guess and know. So let's say Davion Mitchell goes to the Warriors at 7, number 7 prospect on the big board for Chad Ford. He said long-term upside is what he has, right? He's 6'1", 6'2"-ish. He's probably going to be a 3-and-D guy. People are trying to figure out if his shot will translate. The defense will translate, no problem. You can get a jump shot. You can get a jump shot, and he shot the ball pretty well this season. Let me tell you his numbers. He did transfer from Auburn. He transferred for Auburn and then played 2 seasons at Baylor. Played for Scott Drew. So 14 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, 5.5 assists, 51.5, 44.7, 64.1. He had 73 turnovers, which Baylor doesn't turn the ball over that much, but they created a lot of turnovers there. He had 2 20-point games against K-State and West Virginia, both wins. And he had 27 at Texas, which was a win. The Big 12 this year was very competitive. Very competitive Big 12 this year. And I like that. I like that Big 12 basketball is back.
Yeah.
Baylor was the cream of the crop this season in college basketball and in the Big 12. They were the cream of the crop last season, in my opinion. So if Davion Mitchell goes to the Warriors, who comes off the Warriors bench? Damian Lee,
Jordan Poole,
Toscano Anderson.
Depending on if Wiseman does stay, then I'm sure Looney will probably come off the bench.
Okay, Looney and Toscano Anderson. Okay. Damian Lee, I think, and Jordan Poole, I think, are 2 guys that they're going to keep because they really, really played well this season. Those guys are still cheap, right? They're still on rookie deals. I know Jordan Poole is.
But Toscano Anderson also played well too. So.
Oh yeah. That's. I think the Warriors.
Well.
I think the Warriors okay. You're not going to get Clay till 2022. I'm just telling y'all that right now. He is not coming back in 2021 after having an ACL, then an Achilles. It's not happening, Warriors fans. Let him heal up, okay? So this season might be Another season like last season, honestly. It might be because everybody around you is going to get better. Unless you trade these picks. Because you got 7 and 14 in the first round, right? They have 7 and 14.
Well, in all honesty, like if Bob Myers is smart and he's looking at a Steph Curry that's like 32, 33 years old, Draymond's up there in age as well, and then they obviously still believe that they are capable of being championship contenders when healthy, then honestly trading those picks may not be bad if you do believe that you can get a superstar. But I mean, when you look at free agency, I mean, you do have guys like Kawhi. I can't remember who else is on the free agency list. So, I mean, it is kind of minimal as far as like superstars. But if they believe that they can do it, then make it happen.
Go for it, because that window is closing. That window is closing for them to try to get another title because everybody in the West is getting better.
Mm-hmm.
The league is getting younger. The
Yeah,
league's getting younger. Memphis, a young team, made the playoffs 2 years in a row. Shout out to Taylor Jenkins. I like Davion Mitchell. He warms my heart. He really does. And I know he's going to go top 10. We already know he's going to go top 10. So I missed this guy, number 8. Number 8, a lot of people are high on him because his athletic ability. Probably the best athlete in the draft, Keon Johnson out of Tennessee. He put up freakish numbers at the draft combine, and people went crazy. And particularly OKC fans went crazy. Number 8 prospect. Shooting guard. He's a freshman, so he's young. You can still polish him. When I watched him play at Tennessee, and Tennessee had an up and down season, right? They were in the top 5, then it dropped out the top 5. And the season just went like this, and
that's why I didn't even believe in them this year. When they lost in the first round this year, I wasn't even surprised.
Yeah, because their season was just up and down, up and down. You look like, man, you could be the best team in basketball, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh man, you might be the 7th best team in the SEC. They just had those nights, and I really didn't like that. But Keon Johnson, very athletic, very raw.
Right.
He's going to be a development. He's going to be a guy you're going to have to develop. So what are your thoughts on Keon Johnson?
Just basically like everything you said. The thing about me is like it's kind of like what I said about Bones Hyland too, is that he plays with a lot of confidence as well, and he brings a lot of energy. I mean, like I said, he's freakishly athletic. He's able to do a multitude of things, and then also, I mean, defensively, he's pretty decent as well. But I think the one thing for me with him is that like he does show the capability of making perimeter shots, but to me, oftentimes he doesn't seem very confident. Like, whenever he's out there on the perimeter, I mean, honestly, like, whenever he's trying to create off the dribble, he does kind of seem hesitant to, take shots sometimes. I don't know exactly like what his percentages was, but in my opinion, like, as he transitions into the NBA, that's definitely good. I feel like that's definitely going to be something that he's going to have to really work on, especially like depending on whatever team he goes to, because I mean, like I said, I mean, he can make shots on an occasion, but oftentimes he doesn't look too confident in it. And like, I don't know why he just looks kind of shaky. Like, whenever whether he's shooting a mid-range shot or even like, having a wide open 3-pointer.
And you're 6'5" in NBA, either you're going to have to be a great finisher at the rim, which he's a great athlete. So we're going to see how he's going to be able to finish in the NBA. Being able to finish in the NBA, being able to finish in college, 2 different ball games. And you're going to have to shoot, right? You're going to have to shoot. Here's his splits. Well, I'll give you his numbers, and I'm going to give you his splits. His numbers, 11.3 points per game, 3.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists. 44.9 from the field, 27.1 from three-point line. He has to improve that. 70.3 from the free throw line. He's going to have to improve that. His high this season, 27 at Kentucky, and it was a win. So at 6'5", you're going to have to shoot a jump shot in the NBA. You're just going to have to do it. Ja Morant has even worked on his game and his jump shots. He's very explosive. I don't think Ja Morant is 6'5" either. He might be 6'3". How tall do you think Ja Morant is?
I'll say either 6'2" or 6'3".
Okay. But Zion's probably most athletic. Well, in that draft. Well, the 2 top most athletic guys in that draft went 1-2. Okay. So in the 2019 draft, if he is going to be an athlete, right? You're going to be an athlete. Eventually, those athletic skills go away, and you have to polish something. In the NBA now, you have to polish something because players are just as athletic as you are, if not more athletic. So you can't just rely on that anymore. You have to have something and bring something to the table Can he develop a jump shot? Yes. He's what, he'll
Mhm.
be 19 years old, probably draft night, 19 or 20, probably 19. He's raw. He's going to take some time to develop. But can he come off the bench and give you 15 minutes a game off of pure energy and athleticism? Yes, he can. Will you need him to be more confident in his jump shot? Yes. Will he develop that? Of course. Of course. That's why a lot of scouts like freshmen and sophomores, because they're young and you can still develop them. So he's a guy that you're going to have to develop.
Point blank. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, the thing about him is that he has honestly, when I look at him on the floor, he has like the curiosity to like get better. So, like you can see it with his energy, just being able to do all of like the little things, whether it's, getting steals, whether it's blocking shots at the rim, or, just even having ferocious dunks on the offensive end. So he definitely has the skill set, and he definitely has like the curiosity to get better now. It's just all about, how can he become a consistent jump shooter? Because I feel like if you add that to his game with a combination of everything else as far as being athletic, I think he could be a dominant force in the NBA.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm ready to see his potential, and I'm ready to see his growth. Chad Ford has him as the best athlete. We're going to see. But you need something more than athletics in the NBA these days.
Exactly. Everybody's
an athlete coming out of college, it seems like. Sheesh, especially wings. Goodness grief. Being a wing in the NBA is gruesome. It is something else. All right, we got 3 prospects left. They're all top 5 potential picks. We're going to start at number 5 that Chad Ford has on his big board. Point guard, Jalen Suggs out of Gonzaga. Go Zags. Davion Mitchell gave him hell in the national championship.
He's listed at number 5?
Prospect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, prospect wise.
Yeah.
But he could. I've seen where people say, "Oh, he can go number 1, or he can go number 2." Like, you just, when it comes to that top 5, is, you kind of shuffle those players around a little bit. But Chad Ford has him top number 5. So Davion Mitchell and Jared Butler and those boys kind of put the clamps on him a little bit, but they put the clamps on a lot of people this season. So don't feel ashamed, Jalen Suggs. You're still great. You're still great. What are your thoughts on Jalen Suggs?
Definitely still a terrific scorer, but I think the one thing that I overlooked as far as him this season at Gonzaga was his playmaking. Because, like, honestly, like he knows how to make really quick passes, especially like as he's in transition. I don't know why it kind of reminds me of like, God, it's like everything always reminds me of something and I can't name it. So I'll come back to it. But yeah, I mean, I think his passing and his playmaking was definitely an underrated part of his game, especially when you add on his scoring. And then he's super freaking quick too. Oh my God, like he can get up the floor in like possibly like 2 or 3 seconds. Like it's incredible. So I definitely saw, a lot of people, especially during the tournament, saying that he's number 1 and Cade was not number 1. When everybody practically had Cade as a number 1 pick all year long. So I don't understand why people were changing it up. But recency bias is a thing. But but I mean it's tough though, because Jalen Suggs is a solid player, but the thing now is that he wasn't a great system. So now going into the NBA, not having that type of system, like now it's all about how can you produce, you know what I mean? So that's definitely a question for me going forward. Like as he goes to the NBA, in my opinion, I can possibly see him being number 2 for Houston. Playing alongside Kevin Porter Jr. in that backcourt, and then also being able to run pick and roll and do other things per se with Christian Wood. So you never know.
This pick right here is going to be interesting because after Cade, he's the second best point guard in the draft, right? That's what we're all assuming. People are going to have to really figure out if he can work in their system or not. Gonzaga, Mark Few and Gonzaga, they had a great system there. You had Kispert, you had Timmy, you had AIE, Suggs, they had a great system there in Gonzaga. And when he went up against Baylor and Davion Mitchell and Jared Butler, those are concerns and questions they're going to have. So if you have a guard that's small and you can get up in you, how can you create your own jump shot? How can you create for others at that point? Because he had some NBA talent around him at Gonzaga. So most college players don't have NBA talent around them. We're gonna look at Corey Kispert probably next week. He's a top draft prospect. Timmy decided to come back to school. AIE, he'll probably get drafted or might go undrafted, but I like AIE a lot.
AIE is very underrated.
Yes. So he had NBA talent around him. Very rare, even though Gonzaga's on the come up.
Mm-hmm.
They're a mid-major too. They're a mid-major as well. So I love mid-major guys. Here are his numbers. 14.4 points per game, 5.3 rebounds. I like that. 4.5 assists. I like that as well. 50.3, 33.7, 76.1. He had 88 turnovers this season. His high against a team that plays pretty good defense, 27 against Iowa at home. Of course, they won that game. So where could you see Jalen Suggs going besides Houston? Who else have a top pick? Cleveland has a top pick.
Cleveland could. So honestly, Cleveland just might work considering if they are going to go through with a possible Colin Sexton trade.
I think that's going to happen.
So
I don't understand why, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if that were to happen, then yeah, you could possibly see him with Darius Garland and Isaac Okoro, the rest of those young guys. So Cleveland could also be a destination as well.
They have to think about what they're going to do with Jared Allen, too.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So what are you going to do with Jared Allen? Him and Suggs in that pick and roll, that might be beautiful to watch.
That actually will be nice. That would be really nice.
That'd be nice. I mean, he ran a pick and roll with Tiny at Gonzaga, so that could work. All right, last two prospects. Number 3 on Chat 4's big board, Jalen Green, 6'6" out of the G League Ignite. Best pure scorer in the draft, and he said he might be one of the top athletes in this draft as well. Athletes in the draft by far. Put up numbers. I'll give you his numbers, and you're going to tell me what you think about him. 17.9 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 46.1, 36.5, 82.9. Pure scorer. Ooh boy, I used to watch him in high school. I love watching his stuff in high school.
And he's super competitive. He's super competitive as well. That's another good thing about him. But yeah, I definitely agree with the pure score thing, especially considering how he's able to score. He can obviously get to the rim, he can shoot from 3, and he can shoot from mid range and create around that area. So Jalen Green, I think honestly a lot of people have slept on Jalen Green for some reason. I guess maybe because a lot of people didn't really pay attention to the Ignite this year. But Jalen Green is definitely like a stud, and he's going to be really good per se. So I think the one thing that I do have a problem with him is that sometimes, while he is, I guess, when he's pressured on offense by the defender, he can also bobble the ball at times, and sometimes that can lead to turnovers. So that's definitely an area that he possibly can clean up. And then also, defensively as well, I think that he can also become a better on-ball defender, especially with his footwork and his athleticism. I definitely think that he can possibly try and do a better job staying in front of offensive players. But besides that, you got to study this guy that can basically do just about everything. And like I said, if you watch him on the Ignite this season, then you know what he's able to do on the offensive end. Yes.
So if he's number 3 prospect, who has the number? Rockets have number 2. Cleveland has number 3.
Number 3.
Who is Cleveland? Who's number 4?
Let me grab it.
5 is, I know, the Magic. 6 is OKC. 7 is the Warriors. Who's number 4?
Toronto is number 4.
Ooh. Well,
is Lowry out?
Yeah, Lowry's out. So do you move Van Fleet to the 1 and draft, or do you draft Suggs? Put Suggs at the 1, leave Van Fleet at the 2. OG Anunoby, what are you going to do with him? Right, you got Pascal Siakam. Sheesh. Could you take Jalen Green, move Fred VanVleet to the 1, take Jalen Green and have him play the 2? Could you do that? Yeah, because Kyle Lowry's probably gone. That could work. Then you have OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam. Who is there for? Was it Brochure? Was it Brochure? Boucher, yeah. Boucher, I can never say his name right. Boucher. That's an athletic. Fred VanVleet is smaller, but he knows how to finish. But outside of Fred VanVleet, that's a very athletic team there for Nick Nurse.
I think
potential starting 5 lineup.
I think it could possibly work, having Green and VanVleet in that backcourt, especially considering that, that Green is a pretty good playmaker as well. So you're not missing anything out on as far as on that perspective. I mean, I know Fran VanVleet's mostly like a 3-point scorer per se. So he doesn't really have a lot of playmaking in his style. So being able to have him pair up with Green in that backcourt could possibly work, or even Suggs. Who knows?
Yeah, or so I think Green or Suggs there at the 4 pick for Toronto looks good. If Cleveland decides to move on from Sexton, I think they'll probably take Suggs. And if they take Suggs, I think Toronto takes Jalen Green. You just can't pass on Jalen Green.
Oh, yeah,
the Orlando Magic, who's the Orlando Magic number? Who's their 2 guard?
I don't know the 2 guard is. So I mean, I know they have like a big combination of guards from RJ Hampton, Markelle Fultz whenever he's healthy, Cole Anthony. What's his name? Jonathan Isaac whenever he comes back. Actually, no, I want to say he's a forward, isn't he?
He's a forward. Yeah, he's a forward.
Okay, so scratch him out. But yeah, I mean, Orlando does have a decent amount of guards already on their roster, so
I don't see that happening.
Right.
I don't think Orlando takes him. So I think Toronto and Cleveland, these are their 2 picks, right? We're gonna decide those 2 picks.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you keep Sexton, which I don't know if that's gonna happen, but if you keep Sexton, you can't take Jalen Green because I don't think that Darius Garland should still be coming off the bench. I think he should be starting now. And Jalen Green's not big enough to play the 3. So there's that. So I think Toronto and Cleveland are, with these 2 picks, is pretty cut and dry with these 2 picks. All right. Number 1 overall top prospect. We don't know if it's going to happen. Number 1 in Detroit, Troy Weaver. Shout out to Troy Weaver. He worked in OKC's front office. He moved to Detroit. Cade Cunningham. 6'8" out of Oklahoma State. He has the highest floor in the draft, according to Chad Ford. Okay. People have been salivating at this pick. Kind of reminds you of Trevor Lawrence. Everybody knew the Jacksonville Jaguars would take Trevor Lawrence number 1. They were printing his jerseys before anything ever happened. So Cade Cunningham, number 1 overall prospect. Detroit, you cannot mess this up, right?
Can't. You just can't. Now, the thing about that, though, is that, they did just draft Killian Hayes, too. But yes. I have been hearing some trade talks with Killian. So I don't know if that's possibly true or not. But, considering that basically they are going to get Cade with that number 1 pick, that just might happen. So you never know.
This pick for me is pretty clear cut and dry, but also it's the NBA draft. So nothing can be clear cut and dry these days because, like I said before, I was so wrong on WNBA draft. I was so wrong. NFL draft, I was wrong. And I don't like being wrong. I know, Nick, you don't like being wrong either. But Cade Cunningham had his moments. I will say he had his moments where I would watch him, Big 12 guy, play their rival Oklahoma State. So I watched a lot of Cade Cunningham. Give you his numbers before I tell you my thoughts. 20.1 points per game, 6.2 rebounds. I like that. 3.5 assists, 43.8, 40, 84.6, 109 turnovers. I don't like that.
Yeah, it's too many. You gotta clean that up.
Gotta clean it up in the NBA because the game speeds up in the NBA. His high was 40 against OU. I watched that game. It was a win in overtime.
I watched that too.
At OU. that was a beautiful. I think it came on a Saturday because I was just sitting on the couch like, oh my God, are they gonna stop Cade?
Right.
He had his moments in the tournament where he doesn't score. Like he wasn't scoring. He wasn't as aggressive as I wanted him to be. And I'm like, okay, Cade, come on, Cade. That will change in the NBA. In Detroit, Jerami Grant is your guy. Jerami Grant is your guy. That is a proven scorer, a proven 20-point per game scorer. He was kind of got a little inconsistent towards the end of the season, but he's your guy. You got Killian Hayes, you got Sadiq Bey, Isaiah Stewart. So in Detroit, Ish Smith comes off the bench. No, he doesn't. He comes off the bench for Washington. My bad. He did come off the bench for Detroit, but goodness, I just have to keep up with so much. Where does Cade Cunningham fit? You continue to bring Killian Hayes off the bench?
I'll say that if you don't consider trading him, then yeah, I could definitely see that work. I mean, you definitely have another playmaker for that second unit. But And I mean, in my opinion, I mean, it's really clear that that Cade is the number one pick. I mean, honestly, in my eyes, he was probably the most exciting guy. I mean, and that's no disrespect to like Jalen Suggs and the rest of these other guys, because I mean they were all phenomenal as well. But Cade just had a different feeling to him, in my opinion, for some reason. And I mean, it's kind of like I said. I mean, guys were telling me all year, like even before the season, like Nick, he's number one. He's gonna be number one. Like that's what everybody was telling me. Then all of a sudden, the tournament comes around. They end up losing to Oregon State in the second round, I believe. I can't remember his numbers exactly from that game, but I know it wasn't
great. It wasn't great.
Yeah, exactly. So after that, and now you see Jalen Suggs, hitting game-winning shots against UCLA and all that. Now everybody's calling him the number one pick, and I'm like, hang on now, slow down. I personally, I definitely think that Cade is possibly a better playmaker than Jalen Suggs. Honestly, I don't know who's a better scorer per se, because I mean, Jalen Suggs can also create off the dribble and do everything else. So
volume. Cade
had
the reins at OK State, right?
That's true.
He had the reins, so he could take the shots. Jalen Suggs had a better team around him.
That's true.
So he wasn't taking as many shots. But go ahead.
Exactly. But I saw a lot of Grant Hill comparisons with Cade Cunningham, so I kind of understand that. But I also kind of see a lot of Luka in him, just with like a little more athleticism and more quickness per se. Because I mean, even though Luka's not athletic at all, he's still able to at least get to his spots per se. And Cade Cunningham is kind of that guy as well that can get to his own spots and create off the dribble as well. So I wouldn't say Cade's probably one of the best pure scorers, but he's definitely like a guy that can definitely put the ball in the basket. He can rebound and he can definitely play make. So that definitely gives him an edge over a lot of guys in this draft.
Let me ask you a question, because they just signed Grant to that big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does Cade have to understand his role and his position with the Detroit Pistons being a number one overall pick? Do you think that will be a problem with Grant? Because Grant is when you're number one pick, you're usually the guy, right? You're usually that guy. I talked about this on Ladies First, how the WNBA and the NBA is different, because I was watching the game with Dallas against Minnesota, and Charlie Collier started, but she doesn't see very many minutes, and she was number one overall pick. Whereas in the NBA,
oh man, that still upsets me.
Yeah, it's a lot. Vicki Johnson, you're still doing a great job. Okay, we just it's just a lot different than it is in the WNBA and the NBA. In the NBA, you're number one overall pick. You will be the focal point of that team. Cade Cunningham is not going to be the focal point of the Detroit Pistons. That's Jerian Grant. So can he say, okay, I can be number two, and some nights I can be number one? Because Sadiq Bey came on, Isaiah Stewart came on. Killian Hayes is going to do his thing with the second unit. How would that look for Detroit? I wonder.
My thing is, yes, as of right now, Grant is that number one guy, considering that, he's the one guy that, he has the playoff experience and he has the confidence, when he, early in the season last year for Detroit, he was coming around, he was a most improved player candidate. So when you look at, the circumstances of the Detroit Pistons and the situation that they're in, of course, Grant is that number one guy. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Cade somehow ends up taking that away from him just because of his electricity and everything that he can do. Not saying that Jerian Grant isn't great per se, but if Cade can possibly elevate this team, and I'm not saying make the playoffs or anything, but at least get them to at least a better record, and then he also puts up fantastic numbers and also could be a Rookie of the Year candidate. I don't know. I mean, it might happen. I mean, and like I said, I mean, Grant is great. But I don't know. I think the people really love Cade, so I mean, I think that he'll probably get that. I think that he probably could possibly become that number one or that number one option for them.
Yeah, eventually it's going to happen because he's younger. I think Jerian Grant is 27, 28.
Mm-hmm.
So Cade is younger. They're going to transition to him, but they did just sign Grant to that big offseason deal and got him out of Denver, where he was probably the third scorer on their team, which he's proven now that he can put the ball in the hole if given an opportunity. I still want to know what LeBron said to him when they won the Western Conference Finals. They showed him talking to LeBron. I still want to know what he said to him. I knew the Lakers couldn't afford him, so I knew he wasn't going to be a Laker.
Right.
I wonder what LeBron said. They cut the camera off of that. I wonder what these players say, because usually they put a towel up or they'll put their mouths in their jersey so you can't see what they're saying. But that bothers me.
It's always something with LeBron to me. Whenever LeBron talks to an opposing player, it's always something that has to do with recruiting. Like even at the WNBA game when he was with Damian Lillard, like that was the biggest news. Like, oh, Dame's coming to LA, yada yada. It's funny.
It's just so much that goes on. So he is such a troll. LeBron is a troll, and people don't understand how much of a troll he is.
And the thing about LeBron, he knows exactly what he's doing. Like, you know,
he knows
like,
what he's doing.
That's the funny thing about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of these players, like, you know, they're going in the media and then, like, you know, they'll act whatever, but they know what's going on.
They know exactly what's going on. But Cade Cunningham, clear cut number 1. We'll see July 29th. We'll see. All right, guys, that's it for the guards. We had 10 guards. We looked at the lowest prospect was 33. Of course, the highest prospect was number 1. What are you guys thinking about that? Also, next week we're gonna do forwards. Woohoo! Forwards, a lot of good forwards.
A lot of them.
A lot of good, you know, big men. Well, the forward these days is pulling the ball off the rim and pulling up and shooting threes. So the NBA has changed. All right, the NBA has changed. So we're doing forwards on the 16th. And we're going to do centers on the 23rd. Of course, you guys know the draft is on July 29th. So that'll be part 2. Will be next Friday with Nick. We're going to do 7:30, Nick. That sound good?
It sounds good to me.
7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern for his time. All right, one last sponsor before we get out of here. I sprinkled the sponsors in. Yes. All right. Check out rxhemp.com. Use the code rxhemp/USN to get 10% off your entire order. Warm and cool CBD cream. Pay attention to the dosage. If it doesn't kick in, guys, don't worry. It will kick in. Trust me. It kicks in and it feels great. We got Celebrity Believers, and it's made with all natural products. So, guys, check out rxhemp.com. Use the code rxhemp/USN to get 10% off your entire order. Nick, go ahead and shout yourself out. I didn't do that at the beginning of the show, but
all good. You know, obviously a contributor at Rep Sports. You know, follow me on Twitter at Nick Andre ATR, and then also check the link tree in the bio as well. You know, I got a lot of things going on from podcasts, articles, all of that. So yeah, just check me out from there.
All right, and I am Amber Vickers. You can check me out at simplyme_AV on Twitter. I also have a link tree, thanks to Nick. He put me on. I have a link tree for everything that I do. I've been putting it on job applications. I was like, I can't put everything I do. I'll just put the link tree link in the job application. So, guys,
it's like your own little resume, basically.
Yeah, it's pretty much what it is. So you guys go check me out. I have a lot of content on there. Nick has a lot of content. He does a lot of writing. He does a lot of writing. You still doing he's doing his HBCU highlight right now, right?
I just finished that. So my last one was on John Walker. Yeah, John Walker. I did God, I can't remember the names off the top of my head. I did Anthony Tart from Coppin State. I did Sean Doss Jr. from Arkansas Pine Bluff. God, I can't. Oh, yeah, obviously John Walker from Texas Southern. Now, if you did watch the tournament, Texas Southern was in the early in the tournament. Mm-hmm. And then Jalen Johnson from Alabama A&M. So yeah, make sure to check that out.
Check that out. And your newest thing you're working on now is?
Basically everything at this point. I'm doing a Forgotten Players Part 2. Hopefully I can finish it up really quick. I'm waiting on some contributors because they're going to help me finish this up. So hopefully we can get that done. I want to possibly push it by at least by the end of the summer. So definitely make sure to look out for that.
Okay. Nick puts out great content, puts out great work. So you guys go check that out. And you guys know what I do. I do a lot. So I do a whole lot. Mm-hmm. But I try to do as much as I can to stay active because I really enjoy doing this. I enjoy having Nick on as well. He's been a guest on Count the Bucket. I'll get him on Ladies First eventually. And
we can do next Thursday, man.
Oh, yeah, we can. We can do next Thursday. How about
Definitely.
Because we can talk about WNBA All-Star.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, that's right. Because I want to. Isn't the game this coming Wednesday?
Wednesday? Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, definitely.
They just announced the 3-point contestants for the WNBA All Star. So yeah, Nick, because that'll be my last WNBA show probably because
they're going
on a break.
How long is it? I can't remember.
It's till August, unless you're Seattle or Connecticut. It's till August 15th. Because they're playing in the Commissioner's Cup August 12th in Phoenix. So more than likely,
Right.
because Seattle, we're losing right now, but Connecticut won tonight. They beat Atlanta. There's no way Minnesota or Vegas can catch Seattle, if I'm thinking correctly. So it'll be Seattle, Connecticut on August 12th for the Commissioner's Cup. The neighbors resume the season on August the 15th. So you can come on Thursday. Yeah, come on Thursday. Let's talk WNBA.
Definitely.
We can definitely do that. We'll probably talk about that all show long because me and Nick love the WNBA. So we can talk about the ladies all show long because that'll be the last lady shut. Well, I'll probably have to sprinkle some stuff in there because I don't know if I'm going to watch the Olympics this year. I'm kind of on the fence about that.
I'm kind of leaning towards no, but I'm not gonna lie. Like when I saw a lot of the players in the W, going to Team USA, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, I was like,
yeah,
I don't really like it being in Tokyo per se, but I don't know, especially considering what happened to what was the girl's name that played track? I can't remember her name.
Sha'Carri Richardson.
Yeah, especially with her situation now. I'm just like, so I don't know.
I don't know either. Tokyo's not having fans because they're having another outbreak of the Delta variant of the coronavirus.
So, oh yeah, that's right. I heard about that.
And then they said, you can come to Olympics and come play for your country if you're Americans, but don't you dare say anything about political issues. And we know what.
Oh yeah, yep, I saw that.
So I'm kind of like, but I know these athletes of color work very hard to get where they are. So that's probably going to steer me towards watching it. Track and field is one of my favorite events. One of my favorite events at the Olympics. And we're going to get a makeshift track and field team because, there are certain athletes that cannot compete and are not able to compete. And that really hurts my soul. It's one of my favorite events. We got a black swimmer this year, so I'll probably be watching that. I am very intrigued by the diving. Have you ever watched diving for the Olympics? That is very interesting.
I have a few times. I haven't really gotten into it per se over the last few years, but I've watched it a few times in the past.
Besides the basketball, guys, we're going to watch basketball.
Yeah,
but there's some events at the Olympics that I want to pay attention to and watch. But I might talk about the Olympics because they have the 3-on-3 for the women's, and then they have the Olympic team. So.
Oh yeah. Also, I want to mention Big Three season is coming up starting tomorrow. Fourth Man Pod, I need to get on the show because I love the Big Three and I need to talk about the Big Three somewhere. So if you guys are listening, put me on the show. Definitely would be a great addition.
Just DM Anthony. He runs that Big Three. He gets all kinds of guests on his podcast.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, he gets all kinds of guests. The Fourth Man Pod is what it's called. They're part of the live lineup for the Unwrapped Sports Network. They get a lot of great guests all the time. So go check that out. Big Three does start tomorrow. All right, for Amber and for Nick, we will see you next week. We appreciate the love.
Deuces.